Daily Detroit is brought to you in part by our members. Thanks to recent new members, Julie, Andrew, Will, and Nicholas, for your support at patreon.com/dailydetroit. Local information needs local funding to survive, so thank you to our members and our sponsors. In an age of paywalls, I believe in keeping as much information as free to access as I can, but it is not free to produce. That's where you come in, so thanks again, patreon.com/dailydetroit. Hello, friends, and welcome to your Daily Detroit, sharing what to know and where to go in Southeast Michigan for February 6th, 2023 on this chilly Monday. I'm Jer Stays, and today we're talking about Downriver. This project, running from Detroit through River Rouge, Ecorse, Wyandotte, Riverview, Trenton, Grosse Ile, Gibraltar, Rockford, Brownstown, and Flat Rock, is making $4.1 million in gap and intersection improvements to the Downriver Linked Greenways. To learn more, on the line we have Mary Bohling. She's the co-chair of the Downriver Linked Greenways and an educator for Michigan Sea Grant, a collaborative program between Michigan State University Extension and the University of Michigan. Mary, welcome to Daily Detroit.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. So let's get into this because I think a lot of attention gets paid to greenways in different places of Metro Detroit. But this one, all along Downriver, I think adds an important piece to the puzzle. This is something that's a project that's been ongoing for a while. And I think for the uninitiated, why don't you kind of line out what the Downriver Linked Greenways are and what that is, and then we'll get into the news.
Downriver Linked Greenways started back in 1998 as a way of improving the quality of life for our residents, but also thinking about how do we attract visitors to see some of the 5,000 acres of parkland that we have in our region. So we've been working since then with the 21 communities downriver, which is just south of Detroit in southern Wayne County. And we've been putting in trails and linking people with those resources, both by land and by water.
And you've been at this for a while. We were talking before we got on the air, 1998. So this has been something that the work's been ongoing.
It has been. And every one of our 21 communities is doing something around trails. But really, our Downriver Linked Greenways is trying to make those connections from community to community, thinking of it as a big network of trails.
Yeah. And what are some of the benefits that you've seen for the links that you've made so far?
Oh, we see people getting out, exercising, just enjoying the natural resources, discovering things that maybe they didn't even know were there.
Yeah. And as somebody who has been to anything riverfront, I love to visit, whether it's East Side, Downriver, down by Grosse Ile, Wyandotte, all those things. And I think it is a resource that, so much attention gets paid to what happened. And it has been a huge transformation in the city of Detroit, but there are transformations and river access stories happening all across the region. And it's one of the reasons I'm glad to talk to you about this.
Yeah, there's been a transformation and bringing people to the river, connecting people with the water resource. We've seen a lot of cleanup efforts in the area. So it's really good to see people getting out and recognizing the value of this wonderful resource that we have in the Detroit River.
Since it's audio and we can't really look at a map, can we talk about the start and the end of this project, kind of trailhead to trailhead, what that is to give people a concept?
This particular project is going between Detroit and Flat Rock, mainly along Jefferson Avenue between Detroit and Trenton and Gibraltar. And then it heads west along Woodruff Road and Gibraltar Road into the city of Flat Rock. So if we're starting in Detroit, we go to Detroit, River Rouge, Ecorse, Wyandotte, Riverview, Trenton, Gibraltar, a little bit of Rockwood, and then on to Flat Rock. So
wow,
all those communities.
That is a journey. I feel like that is going to be an epic journey to bike. I'm excited to give it a try.
Yeah, and we even have a little spur that's going to go off of Jefferson Avenue onto Grosse Ile and connect with those existing trails they have on Grosse Ile as well. So a little bit of everything for folks who are looking to get out and enjoy our natural resources in the river.
I see here from the notes that this will touch communities with about 130,000 people in them. That's huge. Now, I know people can get into their patterns. Oh, I'm on the east side, or I hang out in the Woodward Corridor or Michigan or whatever. But I think it's important to go out and explore, do a staycation, if you will, even if it's just for a few hours. different parts of town. I think they just have such a great opportunity to do that here.
Along the trail, there's a lot of little historic societies, little parks, some of the bigger parks like Elizabeth Park, which is a Wayne County owned facility. We even touch the Metro Park system going through Lake Erie Metro Park. And then on the far west side, when we get to Flat Rock, folks can enter a Hurock Park and eventually end up into the Oakwoods, Lower Huron, and Willow Metro Parks as well. So significant amount of parkland that we're connecting with this project. And it'll be 25 continuous miles of trail between Detroit and Flat Rock when we're finished.
Wow. Okay, so let's talk about the funding. This is something that is a new development. Can you kind of share what happened here and how this is coming together?
In 2018, we received funding from the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation and the DNR Parks Iron Bell Trail Fund to do the design and engineering for this project. And we're finishing that up now. So we've been fundraising for the construction piece of it for about a year now. So last summer, Ralph C. Wilson gifted us $2.1 million. And then we needed another 4.1 million. And we've been out sort of beating the bushes, trying to figure out where we're going to get that 4.1 for the construction phase. And then just before Christmas, actually a couple of days before Christmas, we had a wonderful phone call and learned that we were going to receive $4.1 million in federal appropriations that Congresswoman Dingell was able to secure for us.
Wow, that's huge. And I can't help but think that, this is such a big project. I feel like that's a pretty cost-effective situation as far as getting this thing built and put together. That's pretty great.
It is. That 25 miles right now, we utilize a lot of sidewalks and some off-road facilities, but there's about 4 miles in that 25 that have absolutely nothing constructed right now. So we consider those our gaps.
Gotcha.
So we're going to be filling those gaps. We're actually going to be making improvements at 22 different intersections through that area. And then we're looking at on-street bike lanes for a section going from the city of Ecorse through Wyandotte, Riverview, and Trenton to connect up with Elizabeth Park.
Oh, wow. And those areas, there's a lot of things happening. I mean, I just was reading a story about all of the people that have been doing things in downtown Wyandotte as of late. I was there just a few weeks ago, and there's just so much happening that, that it's like, wow, this is really lighting up in a way that I think sometimes people might not expect. I feel like to me, when I go to Wyandotte, it's like an up north town, but like downriver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're starting to do some really cool activities and it seems like every month there's some sort of an event that will bring you to downtown Wyandotte.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So with all of this going on, what are kind of the timelines that people can expect to see some different things happening?
Well, as you can expect with federal funding, there's some processes we have to go through in order to actually get that funding secured and into Michigan. So that's going to take us probably into the spring this year. Then we're hoping to get an RFP, a request for proposals, out to folks who could do the construction by maybe late summer, and then possibly start construction either this fall or into the next spring, depending on the timing of when we're able to secure the contractor for it.
Well, in reality, having covered things like this in the past, that's actually a pretty quick timeline,
It is. Like I said, we've been preparing for this for about a year. We knew once we secured the funding, we would be able to hit the ground running. We're also fortunate that we're going to be hiring a trail coordinator to work on these projects 40 hours a week, full time.
Wow.
Which is the first time when we've been able to do that. Up until now, I've been, working on it for a few hours here and there when I'm not, at my other job.
Well, I think that's so important to realize that there are so many things in Metro Detroit, and you're a great example of this, of people who they have their day jobs, they're doing things, and they're also additionally making some really amazing things happen. And that's just a great kudos to you.
Yeah, thank you. I've been very fortunate that Michigan State University Extension, who's my full-time employer, actually allows me to do this work as part of my duties there. And so I don't get to spend a whole lot of time on it, but the time I'm able to do, we've been able to get some pretty amazing projects in the ground, especially considering we have no full-time employees working on this. It's almost a full-time volunteer situation since 1998.
Wow. Well, I really appreciate all this. If people want to know more, they want to get involved, if there's opportunities to volunteer, whatever, what can I do?
The best way to get in touch with us is through our website, which is downrivertrails.org. There you can find information on where the trails are, some really great maps. There's also some 360 viewing that we partnered with SEMCOG, Southeast Michigan Council of Governments, a few years ago, and they went out and rode the trails, paddled the trails, and took video, 360-degree view. And so there's some really cool stuff on the website, and I would just encourage people to go there. There is a contact us section, and so if people email through the website, I will receive those emails and then get right back with them.
That's great. That's great. I'm going to be looking at all of that, dreaming of warmer weather. As we're recording this in early February, I will be dreaming of the warmer weather and the things I'm going to go and try once spring hits.
Yeah, we're excited. And people do use the trails in the winter too. So,
I'm sure. It's just, I'm not a snowshoe. I have a friend of mine. He goes out on Belle Isle. He does the snowshoe thing. And you know what? All the power to him. That is not me.
On a sunny day, it's not so bad.
But
I'm with you. I'd rather do it in the summertime.
Well, Mary Bohling, thank you so much for your time on Daily Detroit. I appreciate you. And I'd love to talk to you more as the things start happening and get out there and take some pictures of finished projects and things and all that.
Yeah, we'd love to invite you to a ribbon cutting.
Ooh, that'll be exciting. All right. Well, thank you so much. I do appreciate you. Here are 3 things to know around town on this Monday. In a response to a terrible incident where a shooter dumped a body on the ramp from the Southfield Freeway to I-96, cameras that can read license plates are going up in Metro Detroit. The data will be kept for about a month. The idea is that if an incident occurs, investigators can then go back and look for clues. The tech is similar to those used in toll booths to catch drivers who don't pay, but to be clear, officials say ours won't be used for traffic offenses. In the Macomb County mega suburb of Warren, Mayor Jim Fouts has filed to seek a 5th term in office, but can he run? Although controversial outside of the city of nearly 140,000 people, he handily won re-election with nearly 58% of the vote last time. Residents tell me it's because if you have an issue, you can pick up the phone and literally call him. Fouts and City Council have battled often in recent years, and there will be a number of challengers. Warren is also dealing with issues between its northern and southern halves, as some, and I cannot believe I'm saying this, but I've heard it myself a number of times, now treat 696 as the new 8 Mile. So the question I tease at the top is, with term limits put in place after the last election, can Fouts run again? It was reported a couple years ago that voters approved a city charter amendment to say that the mayor can only serve 3 4-year terms or 12 years, and that it prevents Fouts from doing this. Well, Fouts says he has a legal opinion to dispute that, so buckle up for even more drama in Michigan's 3rd largest city. And finally, something fun. Red Bull's street snowboarding competition Heavy Metal is coming to Hart Plaza in downtown Detroit this Saturday, February 11th. 40 of the country's top street snowboarders will battle in the plaza's concrete landscape. Last year, the event broke a hiatus it had been since 2003. It's described in a recap video of the event in Duluth, Minnesota as quote-unquote carnage when it comes to snowboarders crashing because of the difficulty. The contest is broken into 3 zones, each with different trick approaches. The wall is a 20-foot concrete slab to launch off of. Last year's Duluth version looked terrifying to a non-boarder like myself. The kink rail is a down-flat down rail that is ideal for staple and switch tricks, and the down rail is a 50-foot length of steel that runs down the stairs of the Hart Plaza Amphitheater. The event is free and open to the public. Gates open at 1 p.m. on Saturday. And that is it for today's show. Thanks to Cheyenne Nocerini for some editing. In coming attractions, we have Fletcher Sharp talking sports. There's some Detroit City FC things to talk about. And Robin Runyon will join me talking development. And as always, so much more in the pipeline. With that, I'm Jer Stays. Remember that you are somebody. Thank you so much for listening to your Daily Detroit. And we'll see you around town.